What's up, everyone? I'm Raina.
And I'm Phil.
And welcome back to 1 Minute Board Games. Today we are going to be doing our monthly roundup for the month of July.
All right, so these are all the games that we got to play in the month of July.
And then, as usual, let's go into some quick statistics. So in July, we played a total of 34 games.
Oh, okay.
32 of which were unique. So we didn't really play any of them like more than once.
Yeah, more than once. Interesting.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And out of those 32 unique games, 15 were new to us.
Okay, yeah, about half. Yeah, it was a pretty busy month for us. Like
in our personal lives.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't really get to play that many games, but we still got to play 34, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I think the reason why it feels like we didn't play that much is because we played a lot of like lighter party games that we played before. We did hang out with a few like different groups of friends this month, and I think that's why it feels like we didn't play that much.
And I think when we did get together, we did play like 5 or 6 at a time. So
yeah, so that was kind of like we would get most of our game playing done on like one specific day, like every week, and then the rest of the week was just like barren.
Nothing. Yeah. So I guess that's probably why it felt like we didn't play so much. It's because we only played like 4 days out of the month, but we played a lot during those days.
It's tough because my school term is 10 weeks, and so weeks 5 to 10, which is basically what July was, is always just crazy. So that's what happened. But this month, in August, it'll be weeks 1 through 5, which is my lighter week. So
let's go.
Fingers crossed, we get to play more games.
Board games every day, including today. Hopefully.
All right, so real quick, we are going to do a check-in from the previous month. We always end the video with a new game and an old game that we want to play for the next month.
Yep. And
do you remember what your new game was?
My new game was kind of cheating, but it was Elder Sign. It was specifically Elder Sign, the expansions. I believe it was Omens of the Deep as well as Unseen Forces. And I am happy to say we finally did it. We got to play one of the games that we said that we would like to play for the next month.
Yeah,
so we got to play both of the expansions. Yeah. So I'm
Elder Sign is
such
a great game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to report that I did not get my new game to the table. It was Eco's First Continent.
Oh.
Yeah.
I put that in there.
Later, nice. Spoiler alert. I think the reason why it's one of those games where we feel like it would play better at more players than just 2. So on games like that, we tend to hold off on playing them until we get like the ideal player count.
Yep.
But so transitioning into that, what was the old game that you wanted to play?
So my old game was Moonrakers. Like always, I always want to get this back out to the table, and it never happens. This month was unfortunately no different.
Last month.
So what happened was we did have friends over, but he was on call, so like he couldn't dedicate the time to like play it, and so we never got to actually like bust it out and play it. Yeah, unfortunately.
But we should be able. We're going on like a little retreat this weekend, like a board game filled retreat.
So maybe I can bring that.
So I feel like we have to play it then because we'll have all of our friends who like are also hobby board gamers.
Yeah. And
we love negotiating, and there's gonna be a lot of them, so we'll hit the 5-player mark easy. So it should happen. Fingers crossed.
So the one time that I don't put it for my next month, we actually play it. Is this the curse now?
The Moonrakers curse. So the older game that I wanted to play, we did get to the table, and it was Root.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Root. Hey. Like I said before, we had only really played the digital implementation before, and I feel like it really makes a big difference playing it like on the table in front of you. I went into it knowing that it was a war game, but I was still a bit flustered.
She was quite flustered.
I liked it, but it was not a good feeling when like everyone was coming for me, which is what you should expect in a war game.
Yeah,
but
there was a point in the game where she was clearly going to win next turn if it got back to her turn. And so we at the table, it was a 4-player game, we at the table were like conspiring against her. And so that obviously feels bad to know that you're going to win, but now everyone at the table is going to make it so that you don't win.
Yeah. But like I feel like it's definitely understandable that it felt bad, but that's what you should expect in those type of games. And I feel like it made for a really tense game because at the end of the game, everyone was one turn away from winning. Which is pretty crazy.
Exactly.
So I think I need to try it again, but in like a better mindset.
All right, so let's jump right into it. So what's a game that you'd like to get back to the table?
So the game that I'd like to get back to the table that we played in July, and I think that we are going to get it back to the table because you just bought it. It's a wonderful world. It's a wonderful world. That's so dumb to
I put the same thing. I put the same thing. That's the exact game that I wanted to get back to the table.
Yeah. So we played this game with our friends Christina and Shu, who we're probably going to mention a lot throughout the course of our monthly recaps because we play a lot of games with them. And this was a game that you actually, I think you were the one that found out about it first between the two of us. Mm-hmm. And then you were like, I think I might like this game, but I'm not sure. I want to try it before I commit to buying it.
No, I was almost 100% sure that I would like it. I was like, this ticks a lot of like engine building. It's just pretty quick to do, and it's just
so how would you describe this game? Do you know like the theme behind it?
The theme, I have no idea. I think you are you're like a corporation or some kind of entity that is expanding, taking over like different areas, galaxies. I don't know. Something like that.
I'm not a big theme person.
Yeah, so the theme is not. It's kind of tacked on, but you're essentially drafting these cards.
It's like Seven Wonders style.
Yeah, exactly. You have 7 cards. You're gonna take one, and then you're gonna pass it either left or right, depending on the round. And then after everyone has drafted their cards, all 7 of them, you will then get to take those cards and choose whether you would like to build them or if you would want to recycle them to get the resource cubes from them. And essentially, each building has the requirements of how to build it. And if you can fill it out, then you build it, and then that's going to continuously get you more resources every round.
So you don't have to have the resources to build it right then and there, but you're kind of committing to like, okay, I'm going to keep this, and we'll see if I can build it in the future. Yeah. And then there's, I think, maybe like 5 or 6 different resources, and it's cool because they're like all in a line on the table, and you produce them like in that order. So it's perfectly possible that because you produce like, you know, this resource, which allows you to complete a building, then that building will trigger for a later like resource generation round. And it was a super light game. I didn't expect it to be like a quick play.
I've wanted it for a while, and I finally got the opportunity to get the Kickstarter edition of it. So we're super happy to get it, and we can't wait to play it again.
Okay, so now we want to talk about a game that surprised us in July, and I'll go ahead and start off with you.
Yeah, so my game that surprised me was Hallertau.
Oh, Hallertau. Yeah.
So Hallertau is a Uwe Rosenberg game, and it's just like kind of like more farming, you know. It's his classic. Uwe. He makes a lot of farming games, and this one I wasn't sure about. You know, it's been a while since I played a Uwe Rosenberg game. It was I don't know. I played a lot of Agricola back in the days, back in the heydays. A whole lot of the app version of it. Yeah. And I think I was just kind of like done with it, you know. And so when it came to Hallertau, I was just like, I'm not sure, you know. It's just more farming. Theme wasn't really there, but like it surprised me. It was a really good game. I like the way the farming works in that game and the way you use it and stuff like that. It was really cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like, I don't know how to explain that game. It's a pretty like, there's a lot going on, but then you have like this, what's like the community center? Yes. That like you're trying to like remove items that are in like rocks that are in the way so it can like push forward and score you more points. Yeah, so it's like community center, it has different buildings that you want to improve on, and when you improve all of them, then you get to move your building forward, and that building dictates how many workers that you get to use. And it's really cool because in the center is it's like worker placement, but when you place it onto a space, there's 3 total spaces on some spaces and then 2 on others. But if you get to go there first, you're going to use less workers compared to other people that want to go there later. Yeah, the first player that goes there only has to spend 1 worker, and the second player has to spend 2, and third player 3, and then that's it for that space. Yeah. And then at the end of the round, the last space that was used clears. Yeah, just the last space. It's not all of them clears. So it's like the more wanted spaces are continually the most expensive. Exactly, yeah. So
I enjoyed it too. I was surprised. I feel like it wasn't as stressful as Agricola Field because you don't have to worry about feeding people in this game.
Yeah.
Oh.
It never feels good when you have to feed and you have to starve and suffer a whole bunch of negative points.
Yeah, not a good one.
Yeah, that was my game, Howler 10. So what was your game?
So my game that surprised me might surprise you. That it surprised me.
Huh?
It's actually Point Salad.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So Point Salad is a game published by Alder Rock Entertainment. And this is a light game. Like, it's a perfect game to like start off your game night or to end your game night if you have like one quick 10-minute game left in you. And the reason why it surprised me is because we were actually this close to culling it from our collection. Like, we put it in the garage with a pile of our games. We're like, yeah, we're gonna get rid of this.
I'm guessing she wants to keep it now.
Well, we are gonna keep it. It's back in our shelf. I slipped it back in there. But so I think the reason why we weren't a big, or I wasn't a big fan of it before, is because we only played it at 2 players. And I feel like that's 100% not the type of game that you want to play with 2 players. It's not that fun.
Yeah, it didn't feel great at 2 players. I don't know what it was about it that didn't feel good, but it just wasn't. But it is much better game when there's more players. I think I played it with her with my
family.
Total of four people, and it was a much more enjoyable experience because I think the cards filter easier. So you're not getting exactly what you need.
Then it's like really a point salad game. But when you play with more players, there's a less chance that the card that you're looking at is not going to be there when it comes back to your turn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm glad that we got to try that with more players because now I want to keep it.
Point salad. All right, now it's time for the dreaded, what game would we cull from our collection that we played? And yours is?
So this is a bit, can I get the same spiel every video? This is kind of cheating, okay? This is a different spiel because we technically do not own this game.
She's going to say the same game
but
that
Christopher has left it here. It is shown on our coffee table, so we basically own it, and our way of calling it is going to be to ship it back to him in Seattle. And it is Bristol 1350.
Yep.
This is a social deduction game, and the theme is basically...
Like kind of social deduction?
Yeah.
Not too much.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, it's not really a social deduction game. So you're in the 13th century. 13th century? I don't even know.
It's the 12th century.
12th century?
14. Oh, I don't know if it's one before or one after.
I think it's one before.
Because we are in the 21st century and it's 20,000. Or 2000.
20,000.
Anyway, you are in the year 1350 and the plague is booming right now.
Yeah. And we are trying to escape the city of Bristol, I guess. And there are these different carts that you're going on. And on your turn, you are going to be rolling some dice or you are choosing some cards to play. And depending on what the dice roll is gonna move the cards differently. So you're trying to like fight your way to different cards to get out faster and stuff like that. But you have to watch out because if you interact with too many people, then you get plague.
Yeah, so the thing is you have these cards in your hand and they're like numerical values. And if the numerical value, I believe, is ever maybe 7 or higher, then you have the plague. And once you have the plague, you can't win because the way you win is to make it out of Bristol without the plague. So from there, your goal is to infect as many people as you can, so you can prevent people from losing.
Lose, basically.
Yeah, like you're gonna lose, so might as well make other people lose too. But people like never 100% know if you have the plague, so that's like kind of where the social deduction comes in. Yeah. But the game wasn't nearly as chaotic as I thought it was gonna be. Yeah. Not that many people got infected with the plague. I think maybe only 1, if anything.
It also just felt like you didn't really get to do very much. You know, most of the time you would want to roll the dice. Which then makes it so that you can't do other things, which is like move from your cart to other carts or like push other people off.
Yeah.
And so it just felt like we didn't really get to do much during the game. And it also just, it's weird that like once you get the plague, you know, you keep the plague, but then when there's this mechanic where you have to like shuffle all of the plague cards and then deal them back out. And then suddenly you have less plague cards, but you're still plagued.
Yeah, that's what I didn't really understand. Because like once you're infected, you're supposed to be infected for the rest of the game. But I don't know. It was just a bit like finicky, I feel like. But we did play it with a lot of players too, so it wasn't like a player count issue. I feel like ideally you're supposed to play those games with more players, but just wasn't a big fan of it.
Yeah, so that's unfortunately why we gotta let it go, even though
it's not
we
ours.
Never had it. So yeah, Bristol 1350.
All right, so let's get into our top 3 games that we played in July, starting off with Phil's number 3.
My number 3 is going to be Dwellings of Eldervale.
Ooh.
That is my number 3 game.
Nice.
So this game was like just a huge production, giant box. You're like kind of exploring this tile area, and
it's like a mod. It's like the tiles come out and you can place them wherever, and it makes up the board.
I don't even know
how to
explain the game.
Like
it didn't feel like it was difficult to play, but thinking back on it, I don't know how to describe it at all. I just know that there's monsters and you gotta do like some combat and some dice rolling, but like
So our friend James Hudson from Druid City and Skybound Games introduced us to this game.
Yeah.
And I feel like when other people teach us a game, I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know? It's not like how to play, because I knew how to play, but like the theme of it and how to explain it to other people.
Yeah.
Because do you remember the theme off the top of your head?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of like worker placement.
There's like different factions and you have different workers and you use those workers to get different actions, you get different tiles and stuff like that. But I think the coolest part of that game is that there is a worker placement, like on your turn you can either worker place, so place it out onto the Elder Vale, or you can take back all your workers, which is unique. So it's not like it's not like I have to take back and then everyone else takes back as well. It's your choice of whether you'd like to place out or take back. And even though you're taking back, it's not like a wasted turn like most worker placements are. You're going to take it back, and then on your own board you actually have more spaces that you can go on. So it's like more worker placement on top of worker placement. So I think that was a really cool addition to the whole worker placement thing.
So a big part of the game too is that there are these like monsters. I'm sure they have like a better name than just monsters, but they're supposed to be like on the board and then they kind of come and attack you. But the unique thing about the one game that we played was the monsters didn't come out until like later in the game.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird because it's supposed to like encourage a lot of battles and conflict. And I feel like it would have been more hectic and just maybe a bit more interesting if they had come out earlier in the game, but it was still enjoyable and I would love to try it again. Because
our game, we had one monster and then someone defeated it really early. I'm pretty sure it was James. And after that, we didn't have monsters on the board for like the majority of the game.
Yeah, I think the last 2 came out probably like the latest that they could.
Yeah, exactly. The last like 3 tiles were all monsters. And so that's when it kind of became hectic, where you couldn't go onto the space because the monster is then going to attack you, and if it attacks you, it does bad stuff, you know?
Because you're probably going to die.
So, yeah, that was...
Number 3.
Dwellings of Eldervale.
Yeah. So my number 3 is a little bit cheating because we didn't play this game together. Or no, maybe I don't think that we did, but I still wanted to include it because I really like it. It's number 9.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I played this, but I watched that game that they played.
Number 9 is a great puzzle game. You basically have these like Tetris-like shapes that are in like the shape of numbers 0 through 9. And your goal is to sort of just like build up, because the higher that the number is on is the higher points that it's worth at the end of the game. So it's like a multiplier type of thing. And everything on the first floor is worth 0 points. And every turn you're going to flip over a card, and that's the number that you have to go ahead and place onto your board. And I just think it's a very like fun and relaxing game. Like I found myself playing this game when I was stressed from school because I had to focus on something, and like I might as well be a board game. Yeah, I played this game a lot by myself. Like when you were like out, I was watching In the Heights and I was playing number 9. I played like 3 games. I keep on trying to beat my own score. I'm so bad at it. But it's a really nice game, and even if you play with multiple players as well, it's interesting to see how different people build their stuff. It's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Why did you score more than me if we have the same tiles at the same time?
Yeah. So this game, all the numbers have like a really unique like Tetris-like shape, but there are like holes in them and stuff like that. So when you are placing, the placement on it on the very first one is whatever. You can place it anywhere as long as it's connecting to another tile. But when you build up, you have to place it so that it is perfectly encompassing at least 2 of your other tiles and not floating in the air.
Yeah, so you can't just be like stacking your number 9s. It has to be overlapping at least 2 different tiles.
Exactly. The first time we played it, we actually screwed that up pretty badly. Me and my other friend, we were just like putting the 9s together. We were like, this game is great.
I was like, this game is freaking broken. But it was funny because like we had just woken up that morning and I was like, you guys want to play this game? And I'm not the best at teaching games. I kind of miss stuff. And
I mean, she didn't miss this. I'm pretty sure she
I did
said
say
this
it,
rule.
but I did not correct anyone when they were doing it.
And then we were doing it, and she's like, "Oh, interesting. That's cool." Like she didn't even like correct it. She was just like, "Oh yeah, that's interesting.
That's cool. I'm gonna do that too." And at the end of the game, I was like, "Wait."
Didn't they say that there's some kind of rule about putting it on 2 tiles? So yeah.
That's a great game. I think if you like puzzly games, you should get this for sure because you can play it by yourself and you can play with other people, and it's great both ways.
Play it with some coffee.
Oh, so good.
Number 9. All right, so now let's talk about number 2.
So my number 2 game, which we already talked about, is Hallertau.
Woo!
Yeah.
It's a good game.
It is a good game. It's like medium. It's like not super heavy.
Yeah,
which is why I like it.
It seems way heavier than it is, I think.
Yeah, because there's a lot of pieces in that game. It's definitely a table hogger for sure. But
there's a very unique mechanic in that game where you have these cards that like accomplish that usually can cost you resources, or like there's a requirement that you just have to fill to get it. And it's unique in that you can play it on at any time.
At any time.
Literally any time you want to. On another player's turn, your turn, in between phases. So there's like a partial engine building aspect to it, because some of the cards, they'll continuously keep giving you resources, which is cool. So yeah, it's how would you? Is it like a medium heavy?
I feel like that's so subjective, and I never want. It's hard for me to like label things as medium heavy.
It definitely is. It looks intimidating, but it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Once you get to play it. Yeah.
So what was your number 2?
All right, my number 2 was The Expanse, the board game.
Oh.
So this board game is based on the Amazon TV show, The Expanse. And it's kind of like this exploration, not so much exploration, but it's like this space,
it's like
area control
for sure.
kind of thing, where there's this market of cards, and depending on where it is on the market, that's how many points you actually have to give up in order to play that card.
Yeah, your currency is your victory points in this game.
And the card itself, you can either do it for its action points, which is on the top right, or you can do it for the event. The action points allow you to do different things like move your ships over or gain influence on the planets and stuff like that. And the event is like a unique thing where it just like does different things for the board game.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that if it's your turn and you choose to use it for the action points, there are also, like, the event also has factions, and if you use the action points, then other factions can actually use the event card, like, during your turn, which can be detrimental for you. But yeah, I don't know if it's like Twilight Imperium, because I haven't played it yet, but it's got that whole space taking over. Not so much negotiation, I guess.
No, not negotiation at all. Yeah, it was really fun. I had a lot of fun even though I like lost like pretty badly. I like that it's area control, but it's not like super mean.
It's not in your face.
Yeah, it's not in your
control,
face
you know?
like your whole, mantra is to just destroy other people's like troops, although you can do that with some of like the action cards that there are. But it's like you have to make such difficult decisions every turn because it's like, okay, the action points are very, very like useful.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get your ships around, and then that's how you score points. But the individual actions on them are also pretty
good too.
Yeah, pretty good.
So even though you're doing a lot with your action points, another player can use the action card for the event, which can also be really good for them. So it's just
and the scoring in this game is super cool too.
It is, yeah. So each planet has like the bases, and depending on how much influence is on each of them, that's how much you score if you have most. It depends, but
it's like classic area control. Like if you have like the most cubes, but then you have ships that can also contribute to your power. But with the scoring, so there's actually like scoring cards that are in the deck, and there's like 2 of them in each third of the deck. And they can come out just on the action queue, just like normal, but a player has to actually purchase that card and trigger a scoring round.
Yeah.
And when they do that, then they pick like one of the tiles secretly, which corresponds to one of the 3 different sectors, I guess. There's definitely a language to it.
Yeah.
That we were getting confused. But they choose one of the 3 sectors secretly that they want to score more. And it's super interesting because you don't know like where you're setting up and which one's going to be the next place to get scored. And yeah.
Cool game. Check it out. It's a little bit bland to look at, but it's a very fun, lightish, medium-ish game.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Expanse.
All right, so now it's time for our number 1 most favorite game that we played in July. You go first.
I feel like I'm cheating when I say this, but I think it's Elder Sign.
Oh, okay. No, it's not cheating.
It's just I guess our top 3 is just what we enjoyed playing the most for this month.
Yeah.
And Elder Sign is just I feel like it's just always a great time. It's a pretty easy game because all you're doing is just chucking dice and trying to match symbols on the dice. But I just love the whole atmosphere that it creates. I love reading the cards, like doing very
he gets very into the theme.
I do. I really
like
like
he
that
reads
game
all the flavor text in the game.
And I'm just trying to like picture what actually happened. Oh my god, like a monster came out and I have to like shoot it with my gun or I have a knifey thingy.
And you always have a good time with that game even when you have bad rolls.
Yeah.
Which I think says a lot because having bad rolls can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Cannot relate because I always have good rolls.
Huh?
I do.
But yeah, it's like we often like to say it's like Cthulhu Yahtzee, even though there's not really Yahtzee in there. But anyways, it's a cool game.
Like classic roll dice, keep some, re-roll the rest.
I eventually want to get all the expansions for it because it's a cool, easy game.
Yeah, definition of oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, Elder Sign.
Yeah. So my number 1 game, it's kind of like the same lines as you. It's a game that we play kind of frequently. It's a Search for Planet X.
Oh.
Yeah. So I actually forgot this game in my last video. It definitely should have been number 1 for last month, but it's just like it just slipped my mind. But yeah, this is a deduction game, so a lot of logic deduction, where you're trying to find where Planet X is. But we probably explained this in previous videos, but it's cool because once you find Planet X, you also have to know what's on the right and the left side of it. So you can't just like go like, oh, Planet X is in Sector 7, first round, just to be chaotic. No, not the game for you. But you also get points by discovering where other celestial bodies are early in the game. And I just love feeling clever, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, seriously. It's so satisfying when you find something and you've deduced that it is exactly that, you know? It's like...
I've never done hardcore drugs before, but I can imagine that's what it feels like when you find Planet X.
It's a weird game because when you first teach it, everyone's just like, they have this like stressed out face, like trying to figure out things. But then afterwards, everyone's like, "This is a great game."
Yeah, everyone's like this makes sense. Like I just have to check stuff off in my box and do the thing.
Yeah, I think Christina was the one that was saying how she likes how if you take pictures of people playing Planet X, it looks like they're
stressed out.
They're stressed out.
Yeah.
But it's such a cool, fun game. Deduction.
Love it. Number 1.
Search for Planet X. All right. So what's a new game that you would like to get to the table next month? Or rather, this month. Month of August.
We're in August right now. We're filming this a bit late. We've been busy, y'all.
Yeah.
So the new game that I want to play this month is, I think it's doable. It's Matcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this game is about, so I will let her speak all of it.
Matcha is a 2-player card game, and you are basically trying to collect everything that you need for a tea ceremony. Yeah, isn't it so cute?
Yeah, it sounds great. And she's had a matcha craze, so...
Yeah, I've been on one. And I think I really love 2-player games. I think, definitely super fun. I hope so. Yeah. What about you? What's a new game that you want to play next month?
My game is Ecos. First Continent, I think, right?
Yeah.
So Ecos is kind of like this bingo game where you are picking a tile from a bag, and then depending on what symbol it is, you get to put cubes on some of your cards. And if you fill out the card, then you get to do a certain action, and whatever the action says, you get to do. And I think I mean, I haven't read the rule book yet, but I think that's how it goes. But it's actually, did I read the rule book?
You did.
I think I did read the rule book.
You've been reading a lot of rule books, though.
Now I forgot all about it.
He just has like a little stack on his desk of just rule books of games that he wants to play next, and it's definitely in there. But I don't know if you read it.
Oh, I think I did, but I don't remember.
Maybe we should bring that game to the retreat.
Oh man, yeah. It's
Good one.
I like to say it's just bingo, but
we haven't played the game.
We'll see. Ecos.
So what is an older game, a game that we've played before, that you want to get back to the table?
I wasn't prepared for this one. This is, my game is Treasure Island.
Ooh.
I love this game so much. I don't know what it is about it, but the whole idea of trying to find treasure on a map is so cool. And even being Long John Silver, which is the person giving the clues, making them try to find his treasure, or trying to not make other people find the treasure, actually. I think it's just such a unique game. It's not a game that I've ever played before, and I think I just like to... It's weird to say, but I like to be clever in my clue giving so that it's not giving away where it is.
So would you say that you prefer to play as Long John Silver?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like the whole aspect of giving someone a treasure box because they dug something up and finding nothing in there. Yes. Yes.
It's like another deduction game as well, which I didn't really realize. Yeah. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't seem to be the biggest fan of it. Yeah. Have you realized that too?
No.
Oh, you're like, I just love it.
I love it. So
That's what anyone else says.
I'm just gonna try to keep getting people to play it. So that's.
I gotta play it again. It's fun.
Yeah. The only bad thing is the protractor that they give us isn't the greatest.
Yeah, it's a little bit finicky.
Figure out a new solution for it. But yeah, I love that game. Yeah. Treasure Island. So what was your old game?
Old game.
Old game.
It is another 2-player only game.
Oh, okay.
And it is Targi.
Oh, yes.
Targi is a super cool worker placement game, but it's super unique because you have the grid of cards in the middle, and you also have a border of cards, and you're going to place your workers on the borders, and you're going to do the actions not only of the borders where you place them, but also where they intersect in the middle, which is so freaking cool. And you're basically trying to just build your tableau of different cards, and you get extra points if all the cards in a row are the same or if all the cards in a row are different. And yeah, you weren't the biggest fan of this game.
The only reason why I'm not the biggest fan is the theme. I just
did you guys notice that I did not talk about the theme?
Bland, and you're trading dates and salts and pepper. I think for me, it's just not the kind of setting that I like fantasy themes, so if you make a fantasy version of it, I'm sure I'll love it. But I just dates and salt.
I could make the argument that there are games that you like that are boring as hell too, but it's fine. I've played a lot on Board Game Arena.
She does.
But I want to play with you in person.
Okay.
But don't play with me.
I'll play if you want to play.
Yeah. I think we can get all of our games to the table this month. I think we can. If we do, we will celebrate by buying a board game.
Woo! Okay.
All right, now we're gonna do it.
Now we're going to do it. If you incentivize a board game in there, okay, I'm in.
Nice. All right, so now it's time for the fire round, rapid response round. Ready?
Ready and go.
Decrypto.
Team play, code cracking, word deduction kind of game. It just feels so good trying to intercept. La Boca.
This is a fun team-based puzzle game, and it's cool because you get to pair up with everyone in the group, so some pairs might be stronger than others. Blue Lagoon.
It's like an area control game. It kind of reminds me of Go, where you're just putting out a chip in surrounding areas.
I've never played Go before.
Deep Sea Adventure.
An oldie but a goodie. This is a fun push-your-luck type of game where you can really screw over your friends by being greedy with treasures. Godzilla Tokyo Clash.
It's like big kaiju destroying buildings, destroying other kaiju. It's a surprisingly fun game, but the rule set is a little bit unintuitive.
Yeah.
The game Face to Face.
We've played this game like 3 times and we played it wrong every single time. But it's a super fun 2-player like dueling card game. Mm-hmm. I want to play it again.
Yeah.
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Push your luck bag building game. The expansion Alchemist makes it so that you can get to your potion, the end of your potion, much faster. Hive Mind?
A great party game that you can play with, I think theoretically, as many players as you want to, and you're encouraged to think the same, which is cool. Take it to Ride Europe.
I like this version with the added mechanics, but I don't know Europe's geography very well. Just one?
I think one of my favorite party games ever.
Ooh.
Great word party game. Trails.
It's like Parks Light, much easier to get to the table. Mm-hmm. Match 5.
A super fun party game. The Resistance Avalon.
Arthurian Legend social deduction game. This game can really cause arguments. Mysterium.
This game is fun, but it's stressful because the cards are so abstract.
It's so hard.
Wavelength.
Trying to get on the same wavelength as the clue giver and trying to turn the dial exactly to where the points are. New York Zoo.
A fun polyomino game where you are trying to strategically breed animals. Caverna, Cave versus Cave.
It's Caverna Light, I think, because I haven't played Caverna yet. Trails of Tucana.
A fun roll and write game where you are just trying to do trails in Tucana. Merv, the Heart of the Silk Road.
This is a gorgeous production with a very unique action selection. Hues and Cues.
A party game all about colors that plays better on more players. Alright, so that concludes our speed run and thus our monthly recap for the month of July.
Let us know what you guys all played in the month of July, and we will see you in the next month.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.